You've got two plants growing 6 inches apart in the same raised bed. Same sun, same water, same soil. One of them barely makes it past a foot tall. The other one just sits there, edges going yellow, doing almost nothing. Nothing's attacking them, nothing's sick. They're just losing, and there's no reason you can point to. This video covers 5 exact pairings that do this in a small bed, and every single one fails for a different reason. One's a nutrient fight. One's a chemical a plant is putting straight into the soil. One's a shared weakness that hands a pest or a disease from one plant to the other. I'll name all 5 and tell you exactly what to plant next to each one instead. In a bed that's 4 feet by 4 feet, one wrong pairing is enough to cost you half of what that space was capable of growing. I planted onions right next to my peas for 2 seasons before I figured out why the peas kept struggling. Blamed the water first, then the soil. It was the onions the whole time working against the peas from 6 inches away. One of these 5 pairings is probably already sitting in your bed right now, and it's not the one most people assume. In a 4x4 bed, you get one shot at spacing before the roots take hold. Once 2 plants have been sharing soil for 3 weeks, the damage is already locked in. Pulling one of them out later doesn't undo what the other already lost. Most companion planting charts have 30 or 40 pairings on them, and half of those involve crops nobody watching. This is actually growing your own food to save on groceries with. Every pairing here comes from the 12 foods that actually pay you back in a small space. So if you've got a raised bed or a cluster of containers going in this season, there's a real chance one of these 5 is already in your dirt. In a small bed, the pairing you choose matters more than almost anything else you do, more than fertilizer, more than watering. You can't outwater a bad pairing in 4 square feet. First one's the pairing that catches more first-year growers than any other mistake on this list. Beans and peas are legumes, same family, same weakness, and onions or green onions planted next to either one release a compound into the soil that interferes with the bacteria living on their roots. That bacteria is what pulls nitrogen out of the air for the plant. Damage it early and the legume spends the whole season undernourished no matter how good the rest of your soil is. It's a little like scheduling 2 toddlers for the same nap in the same crib. One of them is not sleeping. Keep beans and peas in a different square than your onions or a different container entirely. Green onions regrow fast enough that they're forgiving almost anywhere else in the layout. And if you want the easiest possible starting point, I show how to regrow them from kitchen scraps in the ebook on the site, the white root ends you'd normally throw out, sitting in a glass of water on the windowsill. This one's the most common mistake on the list. It's not the most expensive one. Different plants, same family, and that's the problem. Cucumbers and summer squash share nearly every pest that shows up in a backyard bed. Cucumber beetles, squash bugs, and the same susceptibility to powdery mildew once the leaves start touching in July. Worse, the same beetle biting one plant can carry disease straight to the other. Plant them side by side and you double the odds that one infestation takes out both plants in the same week. Give the 2 at least 3 feet of separation if your bed allows it, or grow one of them in its own container a few feet away. Space here also determines how far a pest has to travel to find its next meal. The next mistake is about what's standing between your greens and the sun. Cucumbers, or anything trained up a trellis, planted where it throws shade over lettuce or spinach for half the day, quietly cuts the harvest of the 2 highest return plants in the whole bed. 3 or 4 hours of lost sun a day is the difference between a full harvest and a handful of bitter leaves. The trellis goes on the north edge or the back row so its shadow falls outside the growing space instead of across it. That's exactly why the 4x4 layout in the ebook always puts trellis crops along the back. Which of these 3 is already going on in your bed? The beans next to the onions, the cucumbers crowding the squash, or the trellis shading your greens? Tell me down below. Kale is a brassica. Tomatoes are a nightshade. A few feet apart in a bigger garden, no issue. Crowded into neighboring squares of a small bed, brassicas can stunt nightshade growth, tomatoes included, most likely from compounds released as the roots compete for the same tight volume of soil. Most people miss this one because both plants look completely healthy through June. The stunting shows up in July and August, right when the tomato harvest is supposed to peak, And by then, it's easy to blame the heat instead of the neighbor it's been growing next to since May. If your layout doesn't give you room to keep them apart, swap the kale for spinach in that square instead. Spinach isn't a brassica, so it doesn't fight the tomato the same way. 2 summers ago, I had a 5-gallon pot with 1 tomato and 1 pepper in it, figuring I was being efficient with space. By August, that tomato was maybe 2/3 the size of the same variety growing 6 feet away in the raised bed, and the pepper gave me 4 fruit the entire season instead of the 10 or 12 it should have. Tomatoes and peppers are both nightshades, both heavy feeders, and in a proper bed. Each one gets its own square foot of amended soil, so they do fine side by side. That's exactly how the layout in the ebook on the site sets them up. The mistake is squeezing that same pairing into one container. A 5-gallon pot has a fixed amount of soil and a fixed amount of nutrients in it. 2 heavy feeders in there are splitting one grocery budget between 2 people who both showed up hungry. Give each one its own pot instead, even a smaller one, and both plants get to actually eat. In a small bed or a single pot, the pairing you choose still matters more than the fertilizer you add on top of it. You can build the best soil in the neighborhood and still lose half a harvest to 2 plants competing for the same handful of dirt. 1 more, and it doesn't even count against the 5. If you've got mint anywhere near this bed, and a lot of first gardens do because someone always hands you a start of it, keep it in its own pot for life. It won't fight anyone over nutrients, it'll just spread through the whole bed by the end of the season and take over everything in it. If you're ever unsure about a pairing that's not on this list, 2 rules cover almost every case. Match plants with similar sun and water needs first. Something that wants 6 hours of blazing sun doesn't share a square well with something that wants afternoon shade. And rotate what goes in each square year to year. The same family growing in the same spot season after season builds up the exact soil problems we covered today. Walk your bed or your containers this week before anything new goes in the ground. If you spot one of these 5, that's the one thing to fix before you plant anything else this season. And moving a plant one day before it goes in the ground still saves the whole harvest. It's only once the roots are set that it's too late. None of this takes strength or a full afternoon on your knees. Most of it is moving one pot a few feet. If this kind of thing is useful to you, hit subscribe. I've got more of this coming for anyone growing their own food this year. The ebook on the site has the full 12-food breakdown and the exact bed layout that keeps pairings like this apart from the start. Links in the description. Honestly, I'd walk my bed with this list in hand before I plant another thing this week. Getting the pairing right costs nothing, and getting it wrong costs half your harvest.